Questions, questions. Where are the questions? We're always supposed to be asking questions of our leaders, asking questions of our society, asking questions of our fellow man, asking questions about everyday life and everything else. Well, here's a question that I've got, rattling around in my mind, something that probably needs to be asked. Why are we so convinced that there's this great coming world war against Russia, and that Russia wants a world war, and that we're supposed to be afraid of this? Well, Israel is committing an ongoing genocide. Huh? Strange. Oh, NATO and everybody else, it would have us believe that we're supposed to be afraid of Russia invading all of Europe, probably by 2030, right? That's when Russia's coming to invade the rest of Europe and try to take over the world. And of course, this idea is completely ridiculous, and that Russia not only does not have the capacity to do that, it also doesn't have the intention of doing that either. But as all the European countries are increasing their spending on military for this little supposed eventuality, no one seems to be getting ready for, or really acknowledging that they're also getting ready for war, that no one seems to be getting ready for Israel. That's right. The European Union is planning to increase its military budget by 800 billion euros, or 900 billion US, over the next 4 years. And that's with the US pulling back on NATO, so the EU has to find new defense partners. And one of those great new defense partners they can find is Israel to step in, offering new weapons for the European powers to purchase that have been tested on the occupied Palestinians. As they prepare for Russia, they get in deeper with Israel. So all these so-called European states, with their so-called human rights concerns, their public statements condemning Israel and its genocide against the Palestinians, they seem to be very happily lining up and buying military technology from Israel itself, the one that they agree is committing genocide and would like to have it investigated, buying billions in battle-tested weapons as the country goes to court over having committed a genocide. So they're condemning Israel on the one hand, but boosting the militarization of it on the other. The EU is being wholly two-faced about it. The entire situation. And how significant is this, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. Between 2020 and 2024, Europeans' arms imports increased by 155% over the previous 5 years, according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. Over that same period, Israel has climbed the ranks of global arms exporter, now standing at 8th worldwide. Now, what is one of the great things about buying weapons from Israel? Israel sells them as battle tested, which means they've been tested on the people of Palestine. That habit of committing horrendous human rights violations is the basis for these battle-tested weapons that European countries are so greedily snatching up at high prices. Now, Dr. Ian Overton, the executive director of Action on Armed Violence, told Mint Press News, if we only look at arms transfers through the prism of that they're battle-tested, and we don't look at it through the prism of the fact that they're often indiscriminate or they cause large numbers of civilian harm, then we might inadvertently be purchasing more lethal weapons than necessary, or weapons that actually do not fit the European standard of international humanitarian law in conflict. The hypocrisy, my friends, is absolutely everywhere. As almost every European country, as the EU itself, is condemning what Israel is doing to the Palestinians, it has not slowed them down in purchasing weapons and other instruments of death from the occupation forces. One of the loudest critics of Israel has been Spain. Since the war on Gaza, since the genocide began in October 2023, Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez even called for a global arms moratorium. Yet, Centre d'Elas, a Barcelona think tank, revealed in April 2025 that the Spanish government had awarded 46 contracts totaling $1.2 billion to Israeli arm manufacturers since the beginning of the war. Is this the global arms moratorium that Sanchez was looking for? The one that he called for? The one that he felt was necessary to prevent further armed conflict? And let's not forget Israel's very, very close ally, Germany. In Israel's largest arms sale to date, Germany purchased the U.S.-Israel jointly produced Arrow 3 missile defense system for a whopping $4.3 billion in September 2024. In February 2025, the German army bought Elbit's plus rocket launcher artillery systems for $57 million deal. 2 months later, Germany's defense ministry announced it was procuring loitering munitions, known commonly as suicide drones, from the Israeli firm U-Vision and Israeli Aerospace Industries. The military and financial links between Israel and Germany are nothing that I would have to go through here to remind you of. Germany and Israel's second largest weapons customer after the United States, and Israel is one of Germany's top arms exporters, supplying 13% of the country's weapons. And even over on the other end, in the social democratic Nordic countries, Finland signed a 316 million euro deal for Israel's David Sling air defense in 2023. Finland's President Alexander Stubb defended the deal in an interview with Reuters, saying that the purchase was not related to Finland's decision not to recognize a Palestinian state. And yes, I'm absolutely certain, I am absolutely convinced, sir, that one had absolutely nothing to do with the other. Which is why, he probably could have gone ahead and recognized a Palestinian state, but instead chose not to. Numerous other European countries have continued to purchase tools of death from Israel despite their protests against Israel's ongoing genocide. And it seems to not have slowed them down at all. Those purchases are still out there, still being made, without question. Most of the weapons Israel sells, missiles, drones, surveillance systems, don't fall under banned categories like white phosphorus. So Israeli arms exports fall within the realm of either ethics and morality, not necessarily treaties, not necessarily technicalities within the law. But it is kind of disturbing when we know what it is that Israel does with these weapons to the Palestinians, to the Palestinian people, blocking babies from being able to obtain baby formula, being some of the most wretched, heartless, and sadistic of these actions. So, as we are sold a fake war coming with Russia by the European powers, telling us, coming soon, maybe about 2030, the Russians will be here knocking on the doors of the rest of Europe, looking to invade and take over. A real genocide threat, not one manufactured to simply scare the public into not liking Russia. is unfolding right in front of us. A real genocide unfolding right before the eyes of these so-called progressive leaders who oppose it. And instead of doing their duty to not just their country, not just to the UN, not just to the EU, but their duty to humanity by opposing genocide, they're sitting there on their hands, merely using tough talk, while funneling billions of dollars into Israel to purchase their technologies, to make Israel richer, to take the same technology that's being used to murder Palestinians and bring it home to use against a phantom Russian threat. So I want you to think about that.
Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you'd
Criticizing,
like, please
Israel
rate,
and its
comment,
genocide.
subscribe, and share in various
And
social
see
media.
just exactly how two-faced these countries actually are.
Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.